I'm here at Castaway, Portland, an incredible 10,000 square foot warehouse-style space for weddings and events on the west side of Portland. This is one of my favorite wedding venues to shoot at in town, and today I'm going to show you why it's also one of the most premium places you can get married in Portland. Let's take a look at it together. Now, like a lot of warehouse spaces in Portland, there's a really rich history to this building. Back in the 20s and 30s, it was a factory that made the rope that goes on the streetcars in Portland. Since that time, it's had a bunch of different purposes, and now it's been retooled specifically for events. You have this really beautiful light and airy space. There's tons of natural light that comes in through the bay windows, and it makes for a very premium feeling place to have an indoor event in Portland. Now, one thing that I do love about Castaway that other indoor venues don't have to offer is it has an expansive patio space outside, which means you can have a mixed indoor-outdoor event, which is really fun for your guests. Now, the interior space of Castaway is 10,000 square feet, and then outside, you have an additional 5,000 square feet of patio, which means you have a lot of flexibility for whether you want to do your ceremony outdoors or indoors. Oftentimes we see couples during the summer months do their ceremony out here and then move their guests inside for the reception. Vice versa, we have a lot of couples get married inside with a beautiful arbor in that corner and then bring their guests out here. And what's nice is they have this beautiful covered patio so that if it's rainy or if it's too hot, you have cover, you have shade, and there's also enough room here to park 2 to 3 food trucks, which is the most Portland thing I've ever heard. Super fun. Now, there's no typical run of show with a wedding in Castaway, and that's because the space is very customizable, but not overwhelming. There are a lot of configurations that you can choose from. One of the most common ones that I see and personally prefer just in terms of the lighting for videography is to do an arbor in this beautiful corner right here, which you could imagine is you and your sweetheart are stood in front of these windows, then rows of chairs make their way up and you have an aisle right in the center. And that gives you the other half of this warehouse space and the back patio to have reception tables. Now, the space does come with rentals. You have chairs and tables for up to 200 people. And it's a very beautiful set of decor that they have in here. And from there, you're able to kind of customize it and personalize it, work off of what they've got going in this space already. As you can see, there's a very nice white, neutral tone here. They've got some plants, greenery. You can build on that and make a really pretty event. Now, Castaway has all of the amenities that you need for your wedding party as well, like this beautiful bridal suite that's separated off of the edge of the warehouse. You have a private place where you can do hair and makeup. You got some fun features like a flip switch fireplace, and we can even close these blinds for a little bit of added privacy if you want to do final touches of hair and makeup or get into your dress. You have all of that on site. And speaking as a videographer, there's tons of natural light in here, which means that the photos and videos are going to be beautiful. Unlike some venues, Castaway also has a full catering kitchen, which means that you'll work with some of their preferred vendors for food that's prepared directly on site fresh. And these are the top catering companies in Portland. I've eaten off of a ton of their menus, and the food is amazing. Now, the interior space kind of speaks for itself. It's beautiful, but the neighborhood is also a huge consideration when you're choosing a wedding venue. And I want to talk about a few things that make this neighborhood one of my favorites. As guests wander in and out of the venue, they have this really pretty neighborhood. There's a nursery right here, and there's also a ton of parking, which is super important, especially if you're gonna have 200 people gathering in one place. I'll show you the gravel lot right over here, which is also a cool photo spot. Now, aside from all of the street parking you have, there's also this 27-spot gravel lot that's across the street from Castaway. And you might recognize this brick backdrop behind me. That's because this has become a really popular photo spot for couples who are getting married here. I've seen sessions done here by Jordan Voth and Melissa Marshall. Some of the top photographers in the industry use this as a backdrop to create art as well. The neighborhood really is a selling point. If you want your photos and video to have that classic Americana Portland vibe to it, there's all this exposed brick, old warehouses, and it just gives that really fun, gritty aesthetic. And it's also just amazing for your guests. You know, there are a lot of venues in Portland that themselves are beautiful, but the surrounding space isn't necessarily a desirable part of town. That's not the case here. Castaway is nestled right on the West End and makes for an amazing backdrop for your event. If you're planning your wedding in Portland, then Castaway is truly the premier indoor and outdoor event space on Portland's West End. We'll link to their events team below so that you can find out more, and while you're at it, check out A Beautiful Union. We're a Portland-based film house, and we do weddings and elopements all over the West Coast, and we're very familiar with shooting in this space.